Hello, traders. Welcome to this live webinar at Elite CurrenSea. My name is Chris Forsick. Thank you so much for being here. Well, it's great. We haven't had a webinar for, I believe, 2 years already. So I'm excited to be back here talking to you and discussing trading. We've had a long break in webinars, as you hear, 2 years. So for those that maybe joined recently, you perhaps didn't even know that we had webinars in the past. For those that have been following us for longer, welcome back. All right, so I'm excited. We had a little bit of break with webinars. We did have some regular articles. Perhaps you noticed some updates, of course, with our trading and EAs. But there are a couple of reasons. I'll just go shortly to explain personal reasons from my side regarding health, moving to a new country, and our son that was born. And so, yeah, a lot of life-changing events, let me say it this way. Now things are a little bit more stable and settled. So for those that remember, talking to me from 2 years ago, everything is fine now. But also business reasons, besides the personal, because I wanted to, with the time I had, I wanted to focus on trading rather than on content. Today with me is also Nikita, who did a lot of the updates on the website the last 2 years, whereas I could focus on the trading itself, which I preferred. So I think that has bared fruit, and I think that has helped stabilize and improve our results. Because basically, when we started out back in 2014, oh my, that's already almost 10 years ago, isn't it? That time flies. We were primarily doing education with courses, trading systems. That changed in 2019 after 5 years, where we were starting to be more active in trading our own capital, but also trading capital of others. All right, and that came with its ups and downs. Unfortunately, it's a learning curve, and I think we're in a better spot as we is. But I won't go too much ahead of myself. But that's just a quick intro. And from now on, we're going to have these webinars more regularly. I think maybe twice a month. So looking forward to chatting and then discussing and reviewing our updates. Okay, so yes, let's start taking a look at our topics today. We're going to take a look at our methods, how to trade, how to start, and what we think is what we're doing, first of all, because I think this is a very important factor, is that we're trading with a sizable, quite a large amount of capital, of our own capital. I think in total is getting quite close to $1 million within our trading team. I myself am just over 450,000 euros at the moment. So I think that's an important factor, and we'll be discussing all of that in this webinar. All right, so here's a small timeline that I already kind of mentioned a little bit already in the introduction. So, but you can see here the sequence of how we went forward with Elite CurrenSea and developed from there in 2014, focusing on education. Then more on software systems, supporting those systems with software like SWOT, for instance, and making SWOT easier to trade using indicators and templates. And then we went the next step, which is using those concepts and ideas for actual trading and making it as simple as possible for traders, beginning, intermediate, or even more advanced traders to use those trading tools. That it requires less time, that it's automated, that we take care of that process, and now that we're actually managing it as well. Okay, so this kind of our evolution as Elite CurrenSea. And we're putting the money where our mouth is an expression. Maybe you've heard of that before. By putting large sums, in my eyes at least, large sums of capital on those methods. And some methods we'll get more capital because that's how we determine our own risk profile, and some a little bit less. And there are reasons to do that. There are reasons why one would want to diversify and diversify in a way that could be different. I may take more risk on this system or less on that, and that can differ from one person to another, which is why Nikita and I have developed this form where you can fill in the required information there, and that gives an idea of what portfolio could be the best for you. So check that out on the website where you can find that. On the right side of the slide, you see some last 4 or 5 years, some of the headlines that are on our website. We have regularly articles about the news. They're always, I think, quite informative about what's going on with the state of the economy and trading at the moment. But you can see that we've had some updates with SWOT, ebook completed. We had some success with some of our early money management and EAs successes as well, only to see some of them not do that well, unfortunately. And we got some heat for that, and that's deserved. And we use that experience to improve and get better. Okay. So just to give a recap of what is available regarding services, if you are more a type that would like to learn to trade, that is still available. So it's not like it's totally gone. It's just not our main focus, but certainly very valuable information there regarding SWOT that I developed 5 years ago. The course is from 2 years ago. So plenty of information there regarding elite waves, price patterns, wave patterns, technical patterns, support and resistance. It's a very interesting course, I think, if I say so myself. And there are other things that you can find at Elite CurrenSea regarding education and software. Let me see if there are any questions. If you have, feel free to reach out on the chat, of course, as well. All right. Now, regarding our current systems, how we're trading, there are basically 3 pillars. The 2 main ones are Flagship, Athena EA, and then there's alternative investments with a wide mix of different EAs. And from the least risky is Flagship. And that's because we've had almost 4 years of live trading. That basically is in November this year. I will have a 4-year track record of live trading, of positive live trading, where basically I've had in, let's see, almost 50 months of trading, I've only had 4 negative months. And the worst negative month, if I remember, was minus 4%. Okay, so very low drawdown. The yearly gain I had was anywhere around 100, 120, even 200. So very, very sturdy results versus very low losses and drawdowns. And this is the lowest risk, just because of the fact that we have such a long trading history. The thing what we did back in 2019 was that we didn't have as long trading history with the EAs that we were trading at the time. We had a lot of back testing, and I think we emphasized too much the back testing and not enough the live trading. It's a fault that we made. We risked our own capital. We've lost part of our own capital. Luckily, not everything, but certainly part. And I think we learned from that process, and that's why we have not been running out there to the world to say, hey, look at our flagship performances, because we wanted to build time, and we wanted to let the performance speak over time rather than us speaking. So we just waited. But now we think that after almost 4 years, it is an appropriate time to speak. 4 years of live trading track record is extremely long, I think, in this type of trading world. So I think it's a fair moment to at least share our performance, and you can judge for yourself. But I am very comfortable with trading, with having 430,000 euros on this method, and I think anyone would agree that that is for a lot of people a lot of capital and a lot of capital to risk on trading forex and CFD markets. So now then we have Athena EA. Athena is a grid type of trading, which entails more risk because there is a chance that the system could lose the account. You could lose the capital on the account, and that could happen once every so many times. Usually, it happens maybe once in a few years. So it hasn't happened to me yet, but I've had substantial losses where I lost maybe about 30%, I think, or 25%, not in a drawdown, but actual realized loss. So that was quite sturdy, but that can happen. But then again, you have I think a higher yearly profit in the sense that it's more expected what you could earn every month. Whereas with Flagship, the positive volatility, the gains that could be expected that we've seen in history are more volatile. So 1 month could be great, but the next 3 months might be break even. Whereas with Athena, it's more of a regular monthly profit. And I know that there are a lot of traders who prefer that because, well, let's face it, I mean, traders, we could use a little bit more patience sometimes. And after 3 months of a method performing maybe plus 2%, traders tend to get a little bit impatient and think, hey, this is not going that well, right? We don't have that much patience typically for accumulating those performances. So Athena is from that point of view more smoother, but the disadvantage is grid trading. So there is a little bit of a risk on that side. However, the profit is more regular, and it could be just as high as Flagship, perhaps higher. It depends a little bit on the specifics of the year, but they could be about the same. So there are advantages to both. In fact, I still trade grid systems. It's not that I don't have any capital in grid systems, and the balance between the two would be determined by every trader. What kind of risk profile, what kind of expectations do they have? As I said, I have capital on Athena, and I also have capital on the third category, right, which is the alternative investments, which is a wider mix of different kind of EAs, breakouts, reversals, which I tend to see as a little bit more risky than Athena EA, although it's grid trading. But grid trading is a very kind of, you know what you get. As long as you're aware of it, you know the risk entailed, and it's kind of as steady as it goes until there is maybe a moment that there could be a higher risk because of the fact that prices may be moving strongly in one direction. Whereas with the alternative investments, the AAs, I think are a little bit more risky from that point of view because each EA has its strengths and weaknesses, the market environment changes, and what worked well could eventually change. So it's a little bit more risk from that point of view, okay? I personally have about 430,000 on Flagship, and the other two categories is about, in total, if I remember correctly, about 30,000. Okay. Athena EA, and that differs from person to person. That's just my particular style, and that's also because of the height in capital that I have, because I have traded with 30,000, from the start. But the Flagship capital has grown, so its percentage is higher. But if I had less capital, maybe the ratio wouldn't be much different. I don't know, but it's also the height of the capital that I favor and feel more comfortable with putting on Flagship. All right, now first of all, Athena EA. Let's see, and ZUCA, two types of grid trading. Athena EA on the euro dollar, ZUCA on gold, if I remember correctly, and about 100% yearly grid trading, sturdy track records, as you can see here with the equity curve, with here and there some drops, as I mentioned, that could happen. As you can see here, I don't know if you see my mouse, but on the left side there's a drop there, and then a little bit higher, again a smaller drop. and then again a third smaller kind of dip there. Now those things can happen with grid trading. Sometimes there could be worse dips, but you do get this equity curve. And what we do is, and also we think is a good policy, is to withdraw those profits continuously, consistently, monthly, or whatever time frame you think is good. But I think monthly makes sense, so that you take the profit, and as soon as you have profit off the table, off the account, your risk is less. And the more profit you grab, eventually maybe you'll get all your capital that you invested back as profit. Then basically you're playing with profits, and you could either grow the account after that a little bit once you have your capital back, or keep grabbing those profits to go into positive territory. All right. Well, as you can see, I think the most interesting factor or fact, I should say, actually, is zero losing months here on this particular track record here. Okay. And that's because it's very consistent and has a continuous track record. But it's good to keep those profits on your account and removing them, I should say, to your personal account, I meant, and taking away from your trading account just in case there is some volatility. All right, but usually the drawdowns could be small. Now, you can track everything on my FX book, and I will share more of that of my FX book later, but here are 2 links already. And you can see more information about the monthly gains, number of trades, etc. Okay, but we can take a look at the live FX book later on, just giving you a brief summary of the EA. First of all, it is fully automated, so either through managed account, there's no action required from you, or if you are renting the EA, then you'll get the EA from us, and you would need some action, not in terms of the trading itself, but in terms of sometimes stopping the EA and restarting it. Maybe sometimes updating the EA, but that's about it. Not in terms of the trading itself, only in terms of activating or stopping it. Whereas with the money management service and we running the PAM, those actions are taken by us and done by us and monitored by us. In any case, it is fully automated for both scenarios. Okay, for us, for you, whether we're managing the PAM or you are, it's fully automated. But depending on whether you join the PAM, there's no action needed except joining the PAM, adding capital. Whereas if you rent the EA, of course, there's some action, some small actions needed. Right? Risk levels are customizable, not with the PAM, but if you rent the EA, so you can take less risk, more risk, depending on your risk aggressiveness. You can decide that. And we've had a long live trading record. This has gone more than a year, but I think it's probably 2 years. All right, so its technical system uses different types of oscillators, indicators to determine swing points. High leverage is important. And it's usually speaking, typically the trades close within 1 to 2 days. There are some exceptions if the price goes against our direction, and that doesn't happen too much because typically the targets are smaller. Then they could be open for a bit longer. All right. One more example. 8.1% per month. 33% drawdown. As I mentioned, the drawdown can be a little bit steeper with this type of grid trading. And that is something that is inherent to grid trading itself. And Flagship has typically a lower drawdown 7 to 10%. Mostly losing month is 4%, but the drawdown might be slightly higher. You see already higher level, right? 33.7. So that's certainly kind of a different feeling to a drawdown than 7 to 10%, right? 7 to 10%. Many traders can handle that. Many investors even understand that type of drawdown. But 33% only, I would say, more experienced traders can deal with that from a trading psychology point of view. It is not that easy sometimes, but I think manageable. And especially if you're aware of that and profits are taken monthly, I think I at least am able to deal with that. That said, 8% monthly in a very regular kind of fashion and regular rate of return is impressive as well. And that, of course, certainly justifies some of the risk, in my view, of the drawdown. Okay, here one more. Monthly even higher, but drawdown higher. So there's always that relationship, of course, and we got to be aware of that. The higher return, usually the higher risk. Not always, but we got to be aware that that's possible at least. Okay? Good. Now Flagship. So last thing about Athena, the grid trading, it is available on our website if you're interested for money management or rental. Now, but Flagship is different. It is not grid. It is nothing to do with martingale. It is connected and based on news events. We have different ways of trading the news events with the help of technical indicators supporting the actual trading decisions, the actual trade entries and exits. But the trades themselves, the logic for the trading is connected to the news. Okay. Now, as you can imagine, I'm very excited about this. I wouldn't have 430,000 or 425, something along that line. I think 430,000 euros as of the end of August, and now I believe it should be more. But on this, if I were not excited about it, obviously, right? And the excitement is from the low drawdown and in relationship to the decent gains that I see on a quarterly basis and yearly basis. And I don't review this system I do review it on a monthly basis, but I wouldn't recommend judging it or evaluating it on a monthly basis, because some months could be slow, some months could be +2, 0, -1, and there could be even a second month like that. So what I think is better is to look at it from a quarter perspective, and the quarterly results have always been positive so far. Yearly, of course, obviously positive, and I think it's a great combination for me. My main income, the vast majority, I should say, of my income, and I think that on the top of my head, it must be above 90%, if not 95%, is from trading, and within trading from Flagship. Okay, so I mean, let's be honest, there are traders that in some cases tend to earn more, maybe from educating or from the trading cycle itself. We are not that. We are heavily involved in trading our own capital, and after almost 4 years of live tracker with Flagship, we think it's a fair moment to show it, to not be shy, and discuss this performance. And maybe if you like the style, you can try it. Always try, of course, with capital you can afford to lose. Despite our history of almost 4 years, you never know. So you should feel comfortable with the risk that you're taking. But in my view, the risk that I'm taking is manageable. I feel comfortable with it. I sleep well at night, and I see wealth being expanded, and I think everyone would like to see that. And yeah, I think that that's why this is a good moment for discussing this with our audience. Okay, it's 800,000. Our team, has also capital, so it's not only me. So as I mentioned, I already mentioned about 430,000. So our team members have also capital, and we're getting close to that 1 million that I was mentioning. Okay, here on the right, you see some of this performance, and we're going to take a look as well at my account at the Elite CurrenSea tab. Maybe this is a good moment to do that. What do you think, Nikita? Or do we want to do that at the end and just go through the presentation first? I'm taking a lot of time. I'm talking 25 minutes. I don't know where the time flies. I hope people aren't falling asleep. Good to show. All right, let's switch. Let's see. Here it is. There we go. My account. This is the back office. Nikita has been working, and his team have been working hard on this, and I think it's beautiful. It's a personal area of myself, and everyone who joins Elite CurrenSea would have something similar, I assume. And what you see here is my personal portfolio, and you can see I'm up with these accounts 83%, because if I had accounts, you might be wondering, yeah, but how about you can see here August 2021. You mentioned that you've been trading this for 4 years. That's because I've had different accounts before that were closed by the broker, that are not connected. So this particular portfolio, what you see here live, dates back to more than 2 years ago, but other accounts I've traded before, another 2 years, so that's why the live track record is 4 years. 83% in that time, $193,000 in, I think it's euro, but we use dollars to make it more international, I guess. In total returns, balance 424,000 to be precise. Here you see the performance of all the different brokers that I have. Now you might be wondering, why that many brokers? Well, it's because of many factors: risk diversification, account diversification. Smaller accounts typically do a little bit better in terms of the return percentage than bigger accounts. Broker likes smaller accounts better. It just feels better in general as well to have it spread from a risk pattern of view. If one of these brokers were to be in trouble, I know that only a certain smaller, like a percent, could be lost. Of course, some have risk insurance, etc., but against bankruptcies and stuff like that. But I like, for many reasons, as you can see, this diversification. Okay. Now, one of the better or the best ones actually in this is here, this yellow one. But don't underestimate these lower ones. It's just that this one is so high because it's up at 700%. These lower ones are still at the 100, 150, 170, almost 200% mark. So it's not to say that these are small gains. Then per broker, you can see the balance, deposits and withdrawals, profit and loss per broker. Periodic performance and activity, recent trades, and I can click on load more. You can keep scrolling like that, and it says here also where the trade was executed on which broker. On the left, you see other things: free signals, funding for those that are affiliates, the affiliate area, etc. Settings. Okay, and if we scroll down to the bottom, that's it. If we are already stepping aside from the presentation, let me then take the liberty of showing you my FX book as well, because always fair to be skeptical, and there's nothing wrong with that. So FX book is a third-party verification, of course, and you connect an account, I connect my account, and then there's an extra verification process that I have to change the investor password, what my FX book is indicating, so that before I could publish this. So this is verified, and I don't think now is a good moment, but we can go in future webinars to the individual accounts, and I can show you the capital on it, because I understand skepticism, and I think that by showing the accounts behind my FX book, there is 100% clarity, and there is openness in all regards. Okay, so that we can say for next time, just to keep the webinar a little bit more to the point this time. But here you can see all the accounts that we have had here connected to the Flagship one. And you see that most or almost all are positive except one broker. Sometimes there is an occasional broker that doesn't work well with our news method. So that can happen, maybe 1 in 20, 1 in 15, I don't know exactly, but you can see here there definitely it's just one account out of a long list. And that can happen after a few months if we don't see that the account is going too well. I mean, there are some accounts that have a small gain like this, 5.9. And after a few months, if we think, or even a half year, if we think that it's not working that well, the execution of the trades is not how we'd like to see, and the gains are the performance as well, then we sometimes stop that broker and try other brokers. Okay, so that's another factor why we have multiple brokers. But yeah, you can see some sturdy gains here: 300, 100, 100, 800, 100, 277, 153, 179, 61, and some smaller ones, 2320, which we probably stopped in the meantime. Some of them at least. Some of them are new, like PFD is 25, but we only recently started a few weeks ago. So that's absolutely fine, of course. A healthy, good gain in such a small time frame. Same with this one. Let me check. Let me show you one of the accounts. And I guess why not start with the best one, which is the Euro Trader broker. It made 850, and yeah, it's doing a great job with a nice profit factor. And some of these trades, like for instance, the dollar on 6th of September, or the euro and pound on the 23rd of August, connected to those events that were taking place. If I remember correctly, on the euro, there was some consumer price index news on the 23rd. So these trades are short, typically anywhere between a few minutes to maybe a few hours max. Here I have average of 51 minutes. Other accounts that average is even lower. It could be just 5-10 minutes. So short trades, and therefore also the risk is smaller when the trade is open for a shorter time frame. You know, a trade that's open for 2 weeks has certainly more vulnerability than a trade for a couple of minutes. Now, of course, typically when the trades are short, open for a short while, usually there's a lot of trades to compensate that performance, and that we don't have. So it's not like we have a large cost because of the frequency of trading. No, here are only 156 trades in 1 year. So it's not that type of scalping where you have to be worried about cost. Of course, the lower the cost, the better it is, even with those 156 trades. Lower spreads is always useful, but the lower duration of the trades doesn't mean there's a super high volume or frequency of trading, if you see what I mean. No, it's a low average lifetime of a trade, short trade length, but also lower number of setups per broker. Okay, so that also reduces the vulnerability, because if there are a ton of trades, I think there's more risk involved in all those trades. Okay. Now let's go back. Anything else to mention here? Well, the win percentage, the profit factor, as you can see here. I think these stats say a lot. Here at the bottom, the monthly gain. See, some months can be slow. Look at March, April, May, for instance. And that could vary from broker to broker sometimes a little bit as well. That's not always the same. But in general, yes, January and February, January and March across the board were slower months for me, whereas February and after June were on average better. And that pattern was visible with almost all accounts. Of course, there were some differences in how much, but that pattern was visible. All right. Back to the presentation. 4 years of trading. Yeah, as I said, one losing month per year, basically. Not on average, an actual trading so far. If yeah, that seems to be a pattern. So very low drawdown, and let's see. Here are some 5 brokers mentioned that can be joined by traders, I believe. Okay, I think that's something that Nikita will discuss later on. But many benefits: low drawdown, 30 profit percentage or gain expectations, historical in per quarter, per year, short trades, short length of trades, very sturdy method regarding news, a mix of news and technical. So news is not going to disturb our technical trading. It's the other way around. We use the news and add technical to it. So I think it's a very strong combination. Okay, I think that Nikita wanted to discuss this regarding this this segment about onboarding. Hi, Nikita, are you there? Let's see if I caught him maybe a bit off guard. But basically, in our back office, you're going to be able to find all of this information about how to select your investment and how to join if you're interested. And of course, you can check out my fixed book links at Elite CurrenSea to review all this, all these accounts, all these stats, to see what you think about it. Maybe I can still, before Nikita joins us, share some of my trades. Oh, what Nikita wants to join the stage, but actually I just realized I wanted to show you one more thing. Sorry, Nikita, for holding you back here, but I just realized I want to share one more thing actually, and that is my old statement from 4 years ago. If you don't mind, I still wanted to do that because that's one thing that I didn't do yet, and I think that's still worth doing. Here you can see one of my old accounts back to 2019 November. So that's why I said November. We have 4 years of live trading. This is a live account in Czech crowns, and you can see here. I will go to the part where it shows the total gain. Total gain 740,000 crowns, which is about 30,000 euros at the time. After starting with 105,000 crowns, which is about 4,200 euros. So 4,000 euros to about 30,000. And the last trade was from April 2021. So it's about 1 year and 5 months. So in 1 year and 5 months, this particular account more than sevenfolded, and that's a great performance. And you can see here some of the trades. One of the better trades was with the Turkish lira back in March 2021. Maybe some of you remember that event. Maybe some of you don't because you were not trading yet. But yeah, I just wanted to share that stuff. Now I'm going to pass it over. I just read back to Nikita. Let's see. And I just have to figure out. Oh, I see some questions actually, but let's save those if you don't mind. Or what do you think, Nikita? Should we answer those now? I just see them. Maybe I should answer them now. I don't want the audience to wait here. Hi, Chris. The question is, what would a perfect mix of methods you would advise at a first-time investor, comfortable, normal risks, normal levels of risk for forex and CFD trading? Normal levels of risk, first-time investor. Well, I think as a first-time investor, normal risk depends a little bit on the capital that you feel comfortable with. I think anyone feels comfortable with. Once again, we only want to trade with capital we feel comfortable with. But let's say if it's 10,000, I would probably, and Nikita can add his thoughts because he made this form, so he has maybe a better judgment about what balance the calculator will indicate. But I would say probably a part on Athena EA, and I think that I would, and a part on Flagship, and maybe 70-30 balance for Flagship 70, Athena 30, or Flagship 70, Athena 20, and alternative 10. You could also think about 60-30, 10. Yeah, probably something like that could make sense. If someone is more conservative, then one could think about more on Flagship because Flagship has a lower drawdown. That's why. If one is maybe more aggressive, one could think about more on Athena EA. So that's how I see those risks, if you see what I mean. How do you decide which broker account get the capital on the Flagship if a client tops up directly via Elite? How do you decide which broker account? Well, you can decide, I think. I think there is a choice with a couple of brokers, and you can decide, I believe, but maybe Nikita is best to answer that because he was working on the back office area. I'm the trading side, and Nikita is involved in this. So maybe I'll pass it over to Nikita who can answer that better. Okay, 1 second. Let me find Nikita. There we go. Hi, Nikita. Welcome.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me? Just checking the sound here. I'm a little bit busy here at Cyprus, networking, the talking job, while the magic that. So, can you guys actually hear me, or am I talking to myself?
No, I can hear you. I must say I missed the beginning because I actually had muted my computer.
Okay.
But I realized I turned it on and I can hear you fine at the moment.
Okay, nice. So I think that I can step in then. Thanks. Let me just check how I can share the screen. Do you also see my screen, by the way, or? Anyway,
I think that is my screen at the moment. If you want, you can share something at the bottom. Maybe I can stop it and you can see that option.
Okay, yes. Once you stop it, then I think that I can jump in. Share my screen. No, nothing. Okay. Sorry for the hiccup. It's so hot here. In any case, so Chris, thanks a lot for covering up such a big amount of information. You've been away for probably 2 years by now, and I'm really glad to see you again engaging with the audience, even though you being away and producing such great results with trading and doing the work on the back end is also very promising thing to see and enjoy, so to say. But in any case, I will just stop mumbling and move on to the part where I cover a little bit of the ground with the updates that we indeed have made on the back area of the website. That includes the account area, deposits, funding directly through ECS, so our website with cryptocurrency for now, but we're actively working on adding options for investors to top up directly with their credit cards, banks, possibly PayPal and other payment methods. As you already have shown during your presentation in account area, there is a funding tab. I don't know if I'm able to share the screen. Actually, I don't think it's working that well at this point, but I think I can still see your screen. So maybe you could go to your account area while I'm talking and share the screen. So with your account area activated, so I can guide you how to show exactly what I'm talking about. So if you go down a little bit under free signals, you see the funding tab, yeah. And this has been, if you just click on it, this is a new module where investors can see how to top up directly with cryptocurrencies each of our managed accounts. So be it Athena, EA, Zeus, Flagship, or a mix of profiles, which with a cryptocurrency. So if you go a little bit down, everybody would be able to see that, yeah, we currently support USDT, Bitcoin, and Ethereum top-ups. It's a secure top-up method that sends cryptocurrency directly to our cold wallets with Ledger, where we exchange it to USD and top it up with one of, I think now it's 10 plus brokers that we trade our methods with. And once this is done, the user's client will be notified with a confirmation email and will be able to follow the investment directly through account area. So the main tab where people can see how much funds they have with each broker. I've seen a question about, I will jump into the question because I find it relevant in this section. So how do we, like assuming that a person wants to invest in a combination of methods like Flagship, Athena, EA, and how would we distribute this investment, considering that we have like 10 plus brokers running our methods. So at this point, we don't provide so much freedom to the investor to choose a particular broker where the funds would go, but we do take a fiduciary stance with our investors, and therefore we make sure that we only distribute the capital to the brokers that we are confident in, so that they will allow our trades to be executed properly, there is no slippage, and that the overall results on each particular broker account are in line with what we see on average with our methods. This is particularly important for Flagship, since, as you already mentioned, there is this tendency for smaller accounts to perform a little bit better, as well as this fact offering a diversification from broker to broker, because as I understand it, from a not active trading perspective, execution on each broker may vary. So, in order to get over this execution issue on Flagship, it's not an issue, but in order to make sure that even if on one broker the execution was as fast as we needed it to close the trades, sometimes the trades are under 1 minute, we want to spread the risk across multiple brokers that we first all test, of course, but even then sometimes there is slippage, and our software willing to close trade at a certain price point, and that price point might not be available at all of the brokers, and the price moving a little bit forward or back can cause some of the brokers showing smaller gains, or maybe showing even a loss when the other broker account with Flagship would show a win. So this is mitigated largely by having so many brokers, accounts which we keep updating. And coming back to my initial point, we make sure that at the time of the deposit, each investor would get the best distribution of brokers that is available at the time of the investment. So that is how it works. If user wants to invest in either of the cryptocurrencies that we offer, this amount will be automatically exchanged to USD at a live exchange rate we take from Ledger, and within up to usually 4 hours, but sometimes it may take a little bit longer, deposited to numerous broker accounts and become available for oversight for an investor in their overview tab. And same goes for withdrawal. You just select the cryptocurrency you want to withdraw with and the amount. We automatically exchange this amount from a crypto of your choice, from USD, sorry, to the crypto of your choice, and make it available for withdrawal, wire it back with the cryptocurrency of your choice. Then within the transaction tab, which transaction history, which I believe for Chris' account is now empty because he hasn't been doing much transactions, and we haven't. This is not a test account. Users can see their investments, their withdrawals, and of course the profit share fees, which I do think that Chris hasn't covered for profit share fees that we charge, like why we're actually doing this. And users will also be able to see the profit share fees in the tab, transaction history. We also notify everyone a week in advance about profit share fees to be withdrawn by us, and the approximate amount of the future profit share fee withdrawal. And this data will be reflected in the overview tab as well. As you can see on Chris's screen, profit share fees right now it shows us 0, but for our retail and private investors, this field would show the particular number of fees withdrawn by us every month. We do it on a monthly basis. It's an industry standard, and regardless of what time of the month you have invested, if there has been profit that month, we take a part of that profit, and you can easily check your effective profit share fee by logging into your overview account. The profit share fees are also determined based on your overall investment, which levels you can easily check on the website. You can also check. This is showing the calculator where people can see an approximate values that they will get from their investment based on historic averages, of course. And they could also see the difference between investing in a managed account for some of our EAs and buying the EAs directly or renting the software. For Flagship, this is not available because of the nature of the system, but some of our products, it is possible indeed. So the best way to start would be to go through the questionnaire that's available through the homepage, where we just ask a bunch of crucial questions for investors to first of all understand about themselves. And once those questions are answered, we suggest a type of investment that we believe is appropriate for each trade. Yeah, so I think that that's the main point that I wanted to bring about. We've been indeed working hard on for the past 2 years on pivoting towards money management service. We still offer a lot of EA software. We test it daily, bring about new ideas in terms of automated trading. But since covering the value of Flagship methods, which is a new trading system that combines both automated trading and popular indicators that allow us to determine certain possible movements in the popular asset classes like currencies, stocks, crypto, and commodities, and then traded those movements automatically, assigning more capital or less capital based on the likelihood of, in our view, and based on the, of course, indicators that we use to assess that likelihood, we assign more or less capital to each trade, as well as dynamic profits, take profits and stop losses. So once we have proven that this method has been consistently delivering the results, it was very low drawdowns and like some stagnation on for some months where there is less volatility, still overperforming anything that I personally have come across as an investor and as a trader. Which I don't do professionally, but still indulge sometimes. But this being said, right now, Flagship and Athena, Zeus, those grid methods, and some of the other EAs and automated trading software solutions that we use for managing capital is what we offer to the retail clients and to our private investors. This doesn't mean that in the future we will not be offering other products. We have a bunch of ideas that we are currently testing and in our own capital, and I'm looking forward to introducing these ideas in future. Hopefully, if it works out this time around, I don't think you will have to wait for years. But that's I think that the most important part that I wanted to stress. Besides that, I think that I invite people to enjoy the website, the back end of the website, to test out the calculators, to see what kind of investment they can expect, to see, maybe invest a little bit in the methods they do so, to see how tracking works. For the time being, we're not limiting the investment by some minimum deposits. We want everybody to get in, see how comfortable they are with tracking their investment through our account area, how comfortable they are with depositing and withdrawing with cryptocurrency for now. And in the meantime, we will be working on providing other methods of top up, as well as more regulatory certainty for those investors who would prefer to invest with a regulated company. And important thing to mention here, while we do recommend to try with depositing through cryptocurrency directly through ECS for better results, exactly for the reason of being able to trade, to get exposure through 10 plus brokers on Flagship especially. There is still a way to invest in Flagship, for instance, just with one broker, which people can find through our website on the Flagship landing page. At this point, we offer to three solutions, to three brokers. So this is a more traditional route where each investor would just have to open a broker account and deposit into our PAMs. The results for such endeavors are a little bit lower, and some months can go slower on average than people invest directly through ECS. But I think it's still a good place to start should a customer be not willing to risk or not familiar with using cryptocurrency. And I think that's everything that I wanted to mention for now. As Chris said, we will be joining more frequently every two times a month or so. We will see how popular this gets, how many questions we get after uploading the videos to our social media channels on the website, and maybe spice it up with a little bit more information on our takes on the market in general, sharing some updates about the market and our future products, and maybe getting some feedback from the clients on some ideas that they are working on, or in general, just engaging more with the community. So yeah, I'm looking forward to enjoying more time live talking to you guys. It will be more, of course, Chris, who will be doing the performance overviews and stuff like that, but I will be always ready to jump in to answer some technical questions about the website, as well as business questions about funding and anything that's related to moving money in and out of our strategies. Thanks.
Perfect, Nikita. Thank you so much, everyone. I guess, yeah, that will wrap it up for today, I believe. Anything else to mention or share? I
think everything is shared, clear, huh? And yeah, we should just wrap it up. We've already taken too much time, I think, for the first event, but let's see what survives the cutting floor for the rest of the audience.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good, folks. Well, check out Elite CurrenSea or MyFX book, and see you in the next webinar soon. All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Bye-bye, everyone.